The Planarcadia saga has begun, and with it comes so many plot points with an overarching theme that might just give me an existential crisis. Because after the weeks of brutal drought, Hoyo decided to drop the ocean straight down on our heads with no end in sight. So it's only fitting that we take things from the top and talk about what we just experienced. Sparkle suffered, Pearl is a menace, Asheville is hilarious, and Imagneae is way cutesier than I expected her to be. But we will get to all of this in due time, because there were incredible amounts of symbolism packed into every inch of this story, and due to these breadcrumbs, I think I figured out the overarching theme of this story. And let me tell you, do not trust Planarcadia's goofy exterior. This story is going to places we might not be ready for. So strap in, because this is the broken world of Elation explained. Friday, Discord, big event, new fun game, grand prize winner becomes me, link in description onto the video. Okay. So let's take things from the top, because thankfully Hoyo spared us of the time shenanigans this go around, but they did do a few more perspective shifts more than necessary, so I'll just be cleaning that up for the sake of clarity. And we begin our story with a call from none other than Satan with a pimp hat herself, Jade. So yeah, we're off to a great start here. She calls us in regards to the Anti-Destruction Alliance, and she offers us a spot basically to be the glue that holds the entire alliance together. She says we can be the leader, but that's kind of strange because Hinemo suggested that the IPC take the lead back in Amphoreus. So I think we know that this is an offer Jade is entirely aware will be denied. And sure enough, none of us trust Jade, and we decline her offer. To which I want to say plan B, but in this case plan A was a facade from the start, invites us to Planarcadia, telling us that the moon is full, the Phantasmoon games will soon begin, and her colleagues will roll out the red carpet for us. Afterwards, she hangs up and we check in with Black Swan, who unfortunately has to leave us for some important memo keeper business, and she's taking Dahlia with her, so that's not exactly a bad thing. But tells us that if we need her, Evernight is more than capable of finding her. Though I don't think she would want that. Anyway, we discussed our plans with the crew and set off for Planarcadia, where we actually make a landing. Something I forgot that we did. But do not let this false sense of safety fool you, because we also come in contact with who I'm going to call the real villain of the 4X updates. And if you don't believe me, I'll explain later. The CEO of Planarcadia and the legal representative, Pearl of the 10 Stonehearts. Not only a CEO, but also, most likely, an attorney. Just planting some seeds. She also plays nice for now and invites us to meet her in person, and she lets us know that the Shanzhou has also sent an envoy, who we of course know is Yaoguang. So we conclude these pleasantries and get some more intel on this world of Elation from Hinemo, who mentions Aha's worm, and March says that the first person we meet is always a part of some earth-shattering secret. And to be honest, sure enough, she's right. On the Shanzhou, we first met Fantilia Ting Yun, on Penacony we met Misha, and in Amphoreus we first met Finon. The only exception being the first person we meet in Belobog being Sampo, but come on, we all know something's going on with this guy. But anyway, the first person we meet in this world of Planarcadia is none other than our good friend, the caveman, Xandar II Kuwabara, who is just Sparkle, but let me tell you, there is a good reason for her doing this that spoils the entire story going forward. So I'll be going back to this all in due time. Sparkle tells us she is our IPC assigned guide, which is a lie, of course, and proceeds to give us the grand tour. Because instead of giving us the twisted perspective of the IPC, she gives us the view of this world through the eyes of an Elation follower. Because, you see, when the IPC takes over a world, things change. And if not directly, it's through their contaminating cultural influence. Let me explain. Because initially, Imagneae, beings that exist solely off of wish power, would simply provide for and live alongside humanity in a mutualistic relationship. They provide things humans need, and humans give them the attention and thereby wish power. But in comes the IPC, who declared that Imagneae were to integrate into society, so they have to work jobs and such. And probably also pay taxes, so more money for the IPC. But in doing this, the IPC introduced something something that simply isn't fit for this world: the industrialization of entertainment. In a world where people entertain themselves as a way of life, the IPC turned their culture into a job. Creating entertainment in Planarcadia is no longer something that is a pleasure, but an obligation. And if this world and the Phantasmoon games fall into the hands of the IPC, the elation will turn into nothing but a cash grab for business deals, polluting the idea of the elation itself. And this is a huge real-life metaphor because this symbolizes the corporatization of content creation in real life, and that leading to the death of creativity, everyone using the same editing style, things like that, you know, the Mr. Beast art style controversy, sucking the fun out of content creation in general. Which is why I like to be unique, but still, as a content creator myself, this gives me a bit of an existential crisis. But anyway, delivering the message is why Sparkle wanted to lead this tour, and afterwards she disappears. And our real tour guide appears from the IPC, none other than our favorite IPC lapdog, Scott. I would rather it be Carmela, but judging by what happens later, I'm okay with it being Scott, who we troll around with for a little bit, and then a streamer broadcasts on a giant screen. A famous streamer named Sparksy, who quite literally steps out of the screen, recognizes us, pulls us back into the screen, we escape, and then she proceeds to weaponize her fans to attack us, since she kinda logicked herself into thinking we were from the IPC, or at least siding with the IPC. But after we beat up some of her fans, a woman named Kuchita from the Department of Aberration Defense pulls up and bails us out. And here is where the perspective shifts to Pearl. And I finally get to pay off on those first seeds I planted before, because right after introducing the industrialization of entertainment and how that is killing creativity and ruining the fun of the elation, we see Pearl, an Intellitron, creating a replica of a famous Planarcadia art piece. Now, this is really important, because this is actually the first time we see Pearl, and she's creating AI art. And that's not even a stretch, no, she is an AI artist. She is forging art as a robot without consent from the artist, with near perfect accuracy, which is scary. So not only is she an IPC CEO, and probably also a lawyer, but she is an AI artist on top of all of that. She is so comically, stereotypically, obviously smack you upside the headedly evil. Further establishing the IPC's willingness to trample all over this world's culture for petty profit.
In other words, it is an unexplored market.
But that said, Himeko and Welt arrive, and Welt brings up this exact fact, because nearly every world that they bring into their fold gets subjugated by the preservation, to which Pearl replies, "Oh, that's just 37% of the time, because 63% of the time they get to keep their culture." But despite how stupid it is that she thinks this is a good showing, that's not the right statistic. You know why? Because back in Bellabog, this is the exact statistic Himeko told Bronya was the odds of her world being destroyed or surviving ecological restoration, saying that she has a 63% at survival, 80+% with Topaz, but that number 63% is a dead giveaway. So Pearl is either lying about her motives or lying about the numbers, because either the IPC is planning on terraforming or ecologically restoring Planarcadia, or they are trying to do something else dishonest. Either way, this is a lie, and Himeko doesn't call it out, but I will. There is no way these two statistics would be exactly the same. But moving on, Himeko and Welt basically tell Pearl that we have no issue with an alliance, but we, the Express crew, are more suited to being the driving force behind the alliance, but not the leader, because that role doesn't suit the Trailblaze. Very subtle difference that Pearl points out is just rhetoric. We're not the steering wheel, we're the engine. Think of it that way. So Pearl takes them into the Phantasmoon courtyard and drops that the IPC is already in possession of 3 masks, and that her goal is quite literally to control the games. A plan we all know will fail, because, please, who can control Aha? It's no secret the symbolism of elation is Aha being the puppet master with everyone on their strings, and Pearl looks awfully like a puppet to me. Hoyo does not do things for no reason. but that's besides the point. Because the nameless parents take their leave, and soon after Yaoguang appears. And to sum up their conversation, Yaoguang uses Blade's appearance in Planarcadia to strike a deal with Pearl, allowing her to do whatever she wants. And this was really smart on Yaoguang's part, because Pearl's argument is that you should work with me because the destruction is our common enemy, and Yaoguang says you should let me do whatever I want in Planarcadia because Blade is our common enemy. So that way, Yaoguang got her way, and she made it abundantly clear that she wants the IPC to show some sincerity before she even begins to make a decision in regards to the Anti-Destruction Alliance. Meanwhile, she sent Ting Yun to infiltrate the Sandwich Syndicate, the gang Blade was supposedly hired by, or the Shanzhou's #1 assassin, to take his place. And this goes off without too much of a hitch. Dan Heng and Sunday show up as backup, and they meet the immaculately voice-acted boss and realize that their gang isn't really bad guys. Bro just wants to help out downtrodden Imagneae because it seems that the IPC created wish power poverty among Imagneae. So the boss's goal is to sponsor a supplicant and get some wish power from the shoutouts and publicity. So they strike a deal and make it out with a mask where Yaoguang is waiting for them on the roof and proceeds to place the mask on Sunday's face. And personally, I love this. Because, let me explain. Because through this, we get to see how far Sunday has come, and he is now presented with the opportunity to make his dream come true. However, he doesn't want to make the same mistake he once made, so he's kinda conflicted. He knows what his heart wants, but he doesn't know how to achieve it in the right way. This is a continuation of Sunday's character arc that I hope culminates with him winning the Phantasmoon games and wishing the Amphoreus people into reality, because this would be him doing the opposite of his past self. Instead of pulling everyone out of reality and into a dream, he would be breaking people out of a dream and bringing them into reality. The perfect full circle redemption. This would be cinema. But I digress. Meanwhile, March and the Trailblazer get tricked into walking inside Sparksy's domain expansion, and they get trapped, and nothing really of note happens here besides March using her remembrance powers. That was pretty cool, the little jellyfish show up. But Sparksy followed us, beat us to the punch, or should I say mask, and got even stronger, making herself a supplicant, and gained control over everyone in the school. And here is where we meet Evanescia, who broke the fourth wall earlier and stared directly at us. She shows up, bails us out, takes us into the courtyard, makes us a mask, and kicks us right back out, calling us the protagonist. You go, girl, give us nothing. While all of this is happening, Silverwolf enters the world and tracks down Ashvale after counter-scamming a Furbo out of his life savings. Deserve. And she's so scared of Ashvale here, but I can't imagine why. She never goes anywhere herself, she's always projecting herself different places, so I have no idea why she would be so scared here if she's not physically there and she knows she's not physically there. I don't know, Bronny loses all of her aura in this story. It's so sad. We'll get to that later.
Mr. Ashvale, this lady is not here for food delivery.
Oh, then she must be here to kill me.
Ashvale mistakes her for Kafka.
A Stellaron hunter.
Kafka!
And Silverwolf hires him to track down the mask that she was going to take from the Sandwich Syndicate. Because turns out it wasn't Blade at all, it was her using that name of the Shanzhou's #1 assassin, and Blade really wasn't happy about it. So we catch back up with the Trailblazer, who links back up with Sparkle and Himeko, and Sparkle reveals that Sparksy is Sparkle's Imagneae that she created to make wish power for her when she was out and about. But since the Phantasmoon game started, she got so powerful from the overabundance of wish power that she gained sentience, and now with the mask further enhancing her power, now has stolen Sparkle's power as well. And here is where I can finally pay off on that Xandar teaser, because this is why Sparkle disguised herself as Xandar. It's a whole metaphor for how she created Sparksy, but Sparksy was too good at her job, just like Noose was for Xandar. Then Noose proceeded to gaze at Xandar, thus learning through him and getting stronger through his knowledge, just like Sparksy stole Sparkle's power. Now it's Sparkle's goal to take down the thing that she herself created that is too good at its intended purpose. She is Xandar, Sparksy is Noose, and we are now allied with Xandar trying to free everyone from Sparksy's Sparksicon cave. The Cave of Elation, if you will. And this was all spoiled 30 minutes into the quest. I love how deep this story is. Hoyo does not do things for no reason. Anyway, we then link up with Yao Guang, where she tells us that she can't extrapolate on our fate, which makes sense. Noose couldn't either. We are fateless. So regardless of whatever divination she makes, if we are involved, things will forever sway from knowable to unknowable, just like Noose in the fate of the cosmos. Which is funny because later on she says that the reason why she didn't put the mask on herself is that she would become the Noose of Planarcadia. The buff that she would get would enhance her divination abilities to such an extent that she would be capable of creating instants that would very likely doom the world. But at that time, she didn't know that we are immune to these extrapolations. So just like Noose, she can have her instance, but there would be a trailblazer-sized obstacle in the road to the future being knowable. So that's one reason why she isn't a supplicant. The other reason is that she divined her own death on this trip and is acting erratically to try to throw off the divination. So that's Yao Guang's whole deal. Anyway, we part ways to head to the Masked Fool's Tavern, where I saw this NPC glitch. He told me to look him in the eyes and I got really confused. So we make it to the tavern, where we meet Sampo for the first time, and we go to the Golden Confessional, where Sparksy left us a present.
You want us to unclog your toilet?
Her Sparksicon plan, get your head out of the toilet, where we learn that this whole Sparksicon thing is a mimetic virus to turn people into Sparksy.
From the very first day I was created, I've been doing exactly what my creator asked of me. Listening to every fan's questions, empathizing with their pain and troubles.
And for the life of me, I don't know why we go to Fatal Joke next, but Sparkle gets a psychological evaluation. She's bonkers out of her mind, no surprises there, multiple personalities in there, with none of them being the real personality because she does not see their true Sparkle as someone that matters. You know the deal, I've made multiple videos about that. That's the reason why she is a Harmony character, but it is because of this that her powers are fading away. Sparksy has become so powerful that she is more Sparkle than Sparkle is, something Sparkle has been trying to avoid by constantly switching masks and abandoning old ones. But since so many people only care about Sparksy now, the person wearing the mask no longer matters. So the doctor suggests that Sparkle cremate herself to get rid of or at least weaken Sparksy by throwing herself into a star. Yeah, this got really dark so quick. Then we get this sad scene of Sparkle just powerless and so weak that she can't even get off of the hospital bed, and this felt wrong, I'm not gonna lie. Sparkle being vulnerable and crying like this makes me so uncomfortable.
The mask is who we want to be. And now, this imposter is more me than I am.
It feels so out of character for her to be just so actually genuinely sad. It's like when the smiling clown finally frowns. It's something you feel like you shouldn't be seeing, you know? But to be honest, maybe this is needed because this truly shows that elation is on the edge of nihility. Because life itself is cruel and existence itself is so absurd that there is no point in living. But that's just the nihility speaking. Because the elation is what we tell ourselves in order to keep going. It's fake it until you make it. Force yourself to believe that you are who you want to be until you get there. But in this moment, she's lost her relation, and for a brief moment, she straight up loses her reason to live. It's really sad, but it's so real. So let's move on. We go to Sparkle's storage vault to get some countermeasures Sparkle made just in case one of her selves got out of control, but Sparksy stole them too. And here is where Sparkle is just a wreck. She's lost all hope at this point.
Game over!
But Himeko hatches a plan to use the World Breaker Waves painting to cleanse the mimetic virus. But first, we had to infect ourselves with a mimetic virus because the mind can only have one virus at a time for some reason. So Sparkle takes us to the Echo of Primordial Laughter, where we see just how far she has fallen. It's so bad that the tavern doesn't even recognize her as a masked fool anymore. But for some reason, the Trailblazer is recognized as a masked fool, so we make it in anyway. Maybe it's because we're a supplicant? Either way, we make it in. The Trailblazer pulls the Slumber Nana Monkey virus out of the smile, and Ashvale shows up and he says this.
Put that banana down.
But we don't, because Tactical Sampo Koski distraction triggers when someone is following us, and we get away. So armed with a plan and our banana virus, we infiltrate the school and challenge Sparksy. Or rather, Sparkle throws herself at Sparksy to buy us time while we look for the painting and put it back together again. Oh, and if you're wondering which one the quote-unquote real Sparkle is, the real answer is neither, because the real Sparkle doesn't really exist. But the satisfying answer is the one we've been traveling with this whole time, because Kuchita showed up and called Sparksy an Imagneae. So I'm just gonna kill that debate now. The Imagneae is obviously the one that is the mask. Where we find that March is completely fine. And the reason why I think she's not infected is because of Evernight protecting her mind from the inside. And Welt is kinda just him. Then we get this segment of Himiko's past catastrophe 15 years ago that needs its own video, so look forward to that. And we finish putting together the painting, and now we track down Sparksy to find that poor Sparkle's humiliation has reached an all-time high. She got dragged around, the disrespect selfie, tossed like a piece of trash, and worst of all, Sampoed. I don't know if she'll ever recover from this. This is catastrophic levels of aura loss. Her aura went so far into the negative that Sparksy straight up absorbed her. But luckily enough, Himiko hit Sparksy with the counter disrespect and striking her mid-transformation, and the final battle commences. We win, and as Sparksy attempts to escape, Yao Guang and Sunday show up to help us see through her illusions, and she gets absolutely destroyed with the old Smash Bros home run bat. And finally, after all this, Sparkle finishes off Sparksy like she does with all of her other selves we've seen her kill off before, with her little red gun, finally putting an end to Sparksy's reign of terror. Or let's be honest, she probably did. She probably just put her back under her control. Afterwards, we go back with Himiko, where her dad shows up and tells her that she's dead. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what to think about this. This is a mystery for another day. And Silverwolf meets up with Pearl, and apparently the short Quantum girls can't catch a break, because Silverwolf got played so incredibly hard here, because Silverwolf was attempting to get a mask from Pearl, and she was trying to flex about her ether editing skills and how she broke into Pearl's collection and stuff, and Pearl, this clanker, turned into Aizen. She said, I know you. I know your predecessor Zero. I have her locked up right now. I logged into all 76 of your band accounts. I know all of your tricks. I let you find Ashvale. He works for me. I let you listen in on our conversation, and I let you stand here right in front of me. And in fact, get that fake lifelike hologram out of here. I'm looking at you naked in the bathtub right now. Nah, somebody get this clanker, bro. She's a problem. Somebody get Pearl. She is a problem. She is a problem. Pearl is a problem. I thought she was gonna blackmail her with photos at that point. Give Silverwolf her own Fermata bathtub light cone. Silverwolf got done dirty today. She has to kill Pearl now. She has to kill Pearl now. It's the only way for Silverwolf to redeem herself. This was so humiliating for poor Silverwolf. This cannot go unpunished. So I would like to mourn the loss of my Quantum Queen's aura, because that is where this story ends. Because this is the broken world of Elation explained. Pearl gotta go. There is no more left to say. I don't think Hoyo has let disrespect like this happen in their story quite like this before. And I would be all for it if it wasn't my two favorite characters getting disrespected like this. Silverwolf has taken nothing but L's. Herta would never take L's like this. Oh, right, by the way, Scott died. Anyway, can I get Herta in this story, please? I need her to dunk on these IPC Stonehearts because they are getting out of hand with this. Pearl, the CEO, lawyer, AI artist, needs to be stopped at all costs. But jokes aside, this story is dripping with symbolism and plot points and teasers, and I barely scratched the surface of any of them in this recap. I do this just so that when I start theorizing, we are all on the same page. And now that we are, the next video, it is time to dive into the deep end. But what do you guys think? be sure to let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, y'all.